Have you ever felt a strange emptiness inside? That peculiar void that cannot be filled by achievements, relationships, or material possessions? This universal feeling has touched countless souls throughout human history, and today we explore its profound spiritual meaning. The emptiness you feel is not a mistake. It is not a flaw in your character, or a sign that something is wrong with you. This void serves a sacred purpose in your spiritual journey. As Edgar once expressed during one of his most profound readings, the empty chamber within the heart exists so that something greater than ourselves may enter. This remarkable insight reveals that what we perceive as emptiness is actually a space of divine potential. I have counseled many seekers who arrive at my doorstep confused by this sensation. They describe it as a hollow feeling in their chest, a sense that something vital is missing despite having achieved what society deems success. One young woman, a brilliant surgeon with a loving family, confessed to me through tears. I should be happy. I have everything I ever wanted, yet I feel like I'm missing something essential. This emptiness is a spiritual phenomenon that transcends cultural boundaries. From the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Tibet, spiritual masters have recognized this void as the soul's yearning for reconnection with its true nature. Consider the story of Michael, a wealthy businessman who sought my guidance after feeling increasingly disconnected despite his material success. "I built my dream house," he told me, "but it doesn't feel like home. I've achieved every goal I set for myself, yet I feel like I'm still searching for something." What Michael and countless others discover is that this emptiness is actually a gift, a divine invitation to look beyond the physical realm. The void you feel is a sacred space prepared for spiritual awakening, much like a womb awaiting new life. In the ancient spiritual traditions, this emptiness is understood as the soul's memory of its origin, the hidden realm where souls await birth into physical existence. Before incarnating into human form, souls dwell in a dimension of pure consciousness, basking in the light of divine love and understanding. The emptiness we feel is actually the soul's distant memory of this state of perfection. When we enter physical form, a veil descends. We forget our spiritual origins, our true nature, and the purpose for which we chose to incarnate. Yet, the soul carries this memory like a watermark, invisible to the conscious mind but deeply imprinted on our being. This is why material achievements alone cannot satisfy this longing. The void cannot be filled with external acquisitions or accomplishments because it is calling for something that transcends the material plane. It seeks reunion with our higher consciousness, our authentic spiritual identity. The ancient wisdom keepers understood that this feeling of emptiness is actually the beginning of the soul's awakening, the first stirring of remembrance. It is the quiet voice calling us home to our true nature. As you sit with this emptiness, rather than trying to escape it through distraction or numbing behaviors, I invite you to embrace it with gentle curiosity. This void is not your enemy. It is the doorway to your most profound transformation. What do you feel when you turn your awareness toward this empty space within? Does it feel like something is waiting to be discovered there? This is the beginning of a sacred journey inward, toward the hidden realm where your soul's wisdom resides. In the vast cosmos of spiritual existence, there exists a dimension beyond our physical comprehension, a realm where souls await their journey into human form. This sacred space transcends time and space as we understand them, existing in what mystics have called the eternal now. When I speak of this realm, I do not describe a physical location with boundaries and borders. Rather, it is a state of consciousness, a vibrational frequency where souls exist in their purest form before choosing incarnation. In this realm, souls retain their complete awareness of divine connection, universal wisdom, and the intricate tapestry of existence. One of my longtime students, Elena, experienced glimpses of this realm during deep meditation. It felt like being immersed in an ocean of pure love, she shared. I sensed countless presences around me, each a distinct light, yet part of the same luminous whole. There was no separation, only unity in diversity. What Elena described aligns with the ancient wisdom passed down through generations of spiritual teachers. In this waiting realm, souls exist in a state of perfect understanding. They comprehend the purpose of physical incarnation, not as punishment or random chance, but as a sacred opportunity for growth, learning, and service. Perhaps most remarkably, souls in this realm choose their upcoming life circumstances with profound wisdom and foresight. They select the challenges, relationships, and opportunities that will best serve their spiritual evolution. What may appear as hardship or misfortune from our limited earthly perspective was often chosen deliberately by the soul for its transformative potential. Consider the testimony of James, a hospice worker who had a near-death experience after a severe car accident. During those moments when I was clinically dead, he told me, I remembered being in this vast, loving space before my birth. I saw how I had chosen my parents, my talents, and even my most difficult challenges, all for the purpose of learning specific lessons of compassion and strength. In this waiting realm, souls exist in a state of communion, both with the divine source and with other souls. The relationships we form on Earth are often continuations of soul connections formed in this ethereal dimension. The profound recognition we sometimes feel upon meeting certain individuals, that sense of having known them before, is the soul's memory breaking through the veil of forgetfulness. The ancient Egyptian mystery schools taught that souls in this realm review their previous incarnations, extracting wisdom from past experiences. They then work with spiritual guides to design their next human journey, carefully selecting the circumstances that will provide opportunities to heal unresolved patterns and develop new spiritual strengths. As souls prepare for incarnation, they receive guidance from advanced beings who serve as mentors and teachers. These enlightened presences, whom some traditions call ascended masters, angels, or guides, help souls understand the lessons they need to learn and the gifts they are meant to share. What's particularly fascinating is that souls often travel in groups or soul families, incarnating in proximity to support each other's growth. The challenging person in your life may be a soul who agreed to play a difficult role to help you develop patience, forgiveness, or boundaries. From the perspective of the waiting realm, there are no villains, only souls playing necessary parts in each other's development. In this realm, souls also set intentions or soul contracts for their upcoming lifetime. These are not rigid scripts, but rather general themes and purposes the soul wishes to explore. A soul might choose to develop artistic creativity, experience deep emotional connections, learn leadership, or understand humility through specific life circumstances. The waiting realm is not characterized by passivity, but by active preparation. Souls study the Earth's conditions and current evolutionary needs. They observe how they might contribute to collective healing and growth. Many souls choose to incarnate during periods of great transformation on Earth, drawn by the opportunity to participate in planetary evolution. This understanding reveals the profound purpose behind human existence. We are not random biological accidents, but conscious beings who chose to be here at this precise moment in history. The emptiness we feel is the echo of our soul's memory of the waiting realm, a call to remember our true nature and divine purpose. I invite you to sit quietly and ask your soul, what did I come here to learn? What gifts did I intend to share? The answers may not come immediately, but the very act of asking begins to thin the veil between your human awareness and your soul's eternal knowing. When a soul transitions from the waiting realm to physical incarnation, it passes through what ancient wisdom traditions call the veil of forgetfulness. This cosmic phenomenon serves a profound spiritual purpose in our journey of soul evolution. The veil is not a punishment or limitation imposed upon us, but rather a necessary condition for authentic human experience. Imagine for a moment what life would be like if you retained complete awareness of your soul's existence in the waiting realm. If you remembered choosing your parents, your challenges, and your life purpose with perfect clarity. How would you navigate the human experience if you recalled the expansive love and wisdom of your pre-birth state? The soul's journey into forgetfulness begins gradually as it approaches the threshold of physical birth. The ancient Hermetic teachings describe this as a descent through dimensional gateways, each one drawing the soul deeper into the density of material existence. With each passage, the soul's awareness of its true nature becomes more distant, more dreamlike. I recall counseling Robert, a gifted musician who experienced unusual flashes of memory during his creative process. When I compose, he explained, I sometimes feel like I'm not creating the music, but remembering it from somewhere beyond this life. For brief moments, I sense a vast knowledge that seems to exist just beyond my reach. What Robert described is the soul's memory momentarily piercing through the veil. These glimpses happen most commonly during states of deep meditation, creative flow, or in the space between waking and sleeping. They are reminders that the veil, while necessary, is also permeable. The primary purpose of the veil is to create the conditions for genuine choice and authentic growth. If we remembered everything, our soul contracts, past lives, and divine nature, our decisions would lack the element of free will that makes spiritual evolution meaningful. It is precisely because we must choose love, compassion, and wisdom without absolute certainty that these choices have transformative power. This understanding illuminates the deeper meaning behind life's challenges. The difficulties we face are not random misfortunes, but opportunities for the soul to remember its strength, wisdom, and loving nature, despite external circumstances. Each time we choose love when hatred would be easier, or forgiveness when resentment seems justified, we are piercing the veil and reconnecting with our soul's true knowledge. Helena, a survivor of profound trauma who later became a healer, shared a powerful insight during one of our spiritual counseling sessions. For years, I asked why such painful experiences happened to me, she said. But during a deep meditation, I understood that my soul had chosen these challenges not as punishment, but as a pathway to developing extraordinary compassion. Now I see that what I thought was breaking me was actually revealing my true strength. The veil also explains why spiritual awakening often feels like remembering, rather than discovering something new. The truth is, we are not learning, but recalling, reconnecting with wisdom our souls have always possessed. Every profound spiritual insight carries that unmistakable sense of recognition, that feeling of coming home to knowledge that seems paradoxically both new and ancient. In many spiritual traditions, tears are considered sacred because they often flow when the veil momentarily thins. Those unexpected moments of being moved to tears by beauty, kindness, or profound truth are actually recognitions. Your soul remembering what it has always known about the true nature of existence. The veil creates another essential condition for spiritual growth, the experience of apparent separation. In the waiting realm, souls exist in constant awareness of their connection to the divine source and to all other beings. This awareness is temporarily obscured during physical incarnation, creating the experience of individuality and separation, the I distinct from you and from the divine. This perceived separation creates the tension that drives much of our spiritual seeking. The emptiness we discussed earlier, that persistent feeling that something essential is missing, is actually the soul's recognition of this illusory separation. The spiritual journey is ultimately about piercing this illusion, remembering our intrinsic connection while still honoring the unique perspective of our individual consciousness. Throughout human history, spiritual practices across traditions have been designed to help us thin the veil and reconnect with our soul's knowledge. Meditation, prayer, sacred movement, chanting, and communion with nature are all pathways to remembering. These practices don't create connection. They reveal the connection that has always existed beneath our forgetting. Children often retain awareness of the waiting realm during their early years. Their natural spirituality, imagination, and sense of wonder reflect memories still fresh in their consciousness. As one 5-year-old told her mother, "I remember when I was with God before I came here. Everything was made of light, and we could talk without words." Such statements, common among young children across cultures, suggest that the veil descends gradually, becoming fully established around the age of 7 in most individuals. The journey of awakening is ultimately a process of remembering, of reconnecting with the wisdom, purpose, and divine essence that your soul carried from the waiting realm into this physical existence. As we conclude our exploration, we turn to the most profound question: how do we remember our soul's purpose and live in alignment with its deepest intentions? The emptiness we discussed in our first chapter, that persistent feeling that something essential is missing, is actually a divine invitation. It calls us to journey beyond the surface of material existence and remember the sacred agreements our soul made before birth. This remembering is not an intellectual exercise, but a visceral recognition that resonates through every dimension of your being. I have guided thousands of seekers on this path of remembrance, and I've observed that the journey follows a universal pattern, though each person's experience is uniquely their own. The process begins with listening, not to the constant chatter of the mind or the conditioning of society, but to the quiet whispers of the soul that speak through intuition, dreams, and moments of profound clarity. Sarah, a corporate executive who sought my guidance during a period of deep questioning, described her awakening this way. For years, I pushed aside the persistent feeling that I was meant to be doing something else, something that would help heal others. I dismissed it as impractical until the emptiness became so painful I could no longer ignore it. When I finally listened, everything in my life began to shift. Your soul speaks to you constantly through the language of resonance. Notice what brings you alive, what activities cause time to disappear, what service makes your heart expand with purpose and meaning. These are not random preferences, but soul memories breaking through the veil, glimpses of the intentions your soul set in the waiting realm. Pay particular attention to recurring themes in your life, challenges that appear in different forms but carry similar lessons, relationships that trigger deep emotional responses, and persistent dreams or visions that have stayed with you since childhood. These patterns often point to the specific soul curriculum you designed for this lifetime. One of my students, Daniel, discovered his soul's purpose through recognizing a pattern in his life. I realized that from childhood, I had always been the one friends turned to for counsel during difficult times. I had dismissed this as coincidence, but when I embraced this natural gift for holding space for others in pain, I found my true calling as a grief counselor. Now my work feels less like a choice and more like a remembering. The soul's purpose is rarely limited to career or external achievements. It encompasses how we love, how we face challenges, how we contribute to the healing of collective consciousness, and how we embody specific qualities or virtues that our soul chose to develop. For some, the purpose might center around creating a nurturing family environment. For others, it might involve artistic expression, teaching, healing, innovation, or countless other paths of service. Remember that before incarnating, your soul viewed Earth as a sacred school, a rare and precious opportunity to evolve through the unique conditions that physical existence provides. The challenges you face are not obstacles to your purpose, but often the very means through which your purpose is fulfilled and refined. James, a man who had endured severe childhood trauma, discovered through his healing journey that his soul had chosen these difficult experiences not as punishment, but as preparation for his work supporting others through similar wounds. What I once viewed as my greatest burden became my greatest gift to offer, he shared. The very experiences that nearly broke me became the source of the wisdom and compassion I now share. The veil of forgetfulness we explored in our previous chapter ensures that remembering your soul's purpose becomes itself a sacred act of awakening. Each step of recognition, each moment of alignment with your true nature, carries transformative power precisely because it requires moving beyond the limited perspective of the ego and reconnecting with your eternal essence. As you continue your journey of remembrance, cultivate patience with the process. The soul reveals its wisdom in layers, often beginning with subtle intuitive nudges before progressing to clearer understanding. What seems like a small insight today may unfold into profound revelation as you continue to listen and respond to your soul's guidance. Practices that thin the veil between your human awareness and soul wisdom are invaluable allies on this path. Regular meditation creates the inner silence necessary to hear your soul's voice. Journaling helps you recognize patterns and insights that might otherwise be missed. Time in nature reconnects you with the rhythms and wisdom of the living world that mirror your soul's deeper knowing. Perhaps most importantly, surround yourself with a community of fellow seekers who support your authentic unfolding. The souls who accompanied you from the waiting realm often reappear in your life as friends, teachers, and companions who recognize and nurture your true essence, even when you momentarily forget it yourself. As our exploration comes to a close, I offer this final wisdom. The emptiness that initially propelled your spiritual seeking transforms as you remember your soul's purpose. What once felt like an aching void gradually becomes a sacred vessel, a space within you that holds the presence of divine love, wisdom, and purpose. Your life, with all its joys and challenges, is not a random occurrence, but a sacred journey your soul chose with great wisdom and love. The emptiness you've felt is not a mistake, but a catalyst for remembering who you truly are and why you came. As you align more deeply with your soul's intentions, you become a living bridge between the waiting realm and earthly existence, bringing heaven to earth through the unique expression that only your soul can offer. May you walk forward with the peace that comes from remembering, the courage that flows from purpose, and the love that is your true eternal nature. Your soul knew exactly what it was doing when it chose this life. Trust its wisdom, listen to its guidance, and allow its light to shine through everything you do. Did this exploration of the soul's waiting realm resonate with your deepest intuition? If you felt that spark of recognition, that quiet yes within, don't let this moment of connection fade. Subscribe now to continue our spiritual journey together. Each week, I share ancient wisdom and practical guidance to help you remember your soul's purpose and live from your authentic essence. Join our growing community of seekers who are awakening to their true nature and bringing light to this world. The emptiness you felt is calling you home. Subscribe today and transform that void into your greatest purpose.